In a world crying out for a top 10 show, John Roca and Matt Nost are here. So grab your assigned seat, sit back, and enjoy this week's Top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know Network. Take it away, boys.
Welcome, everybody, to the first in a series of 4. Can we say that? I think that's the right thing to say, right? First in a series of 4?
Sure, there is going to be one every day of the week this week.
Yeah.
Besides the day we release, next week's show.
Right. We wanted to do these recap and reviews for some of the films that came out over December that we didn't get to yet.
Or we were gone over the holidays.
Yeah.
We both saw it. We hadn't talked about it. It's normally something we would do, and we were like, fuck it. Hey, we took a week off because I was sick.
Right.
We came out with last week's show.
Yeah.
And then let's treat the fans and just bang out a bunch of them. If they want to listen to us drone on every day of their week next week, well, you're welcome.
That's right.
If you don't, then
Sorry.
thanks for the download.
Sorry.
Spoilers, by the way, on all the movies that we talk about.
Big time. Big time. This is the Top 10 show. I'm John Roca.
I am Matt Nost.
And we just felt like this was the fun thing to do, and maybe this is a precursor to a radio show, which I keep trying to talk you into.
Now it's a movie review radio show?
I'm saying...
Sports is hard enough for a 24-hour news cycle. It's the same shit if you listen to the car.
I guess so. I'm just saying if people would get us in their ears every day this week, and let's see how they feel by the end of the week. If they're like done with us, or if they want more.
You want to record 5 shows a week now?
Let's.
Do you have that kind of time?
If they pay me,
yeah,
I'm saying.
true. Yeah. That prioritizes it in a different manner.
Of course.
Why don't we build to that before we just make the quantum leap?
I feel like we've been building to that for the last 8 months, in my opinion.
Yes, we have. But we're laying the groundwork for something now.
That's true. That's true. I'm an impatient man. All right. Well, we wanted to start the first one. We wanted to jump on Spotlight. It's a film that both of us liked a lot, and I think so. And so we're going to break it down and talk about it. And like I said, we're going to release one. This is the Monday one. Then we'll release one on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. So this is a treat for you guys. And let's just get it going.
It is definitely a treat for them. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So what do you think?
What? Quick breakdown of the movie. It's about... Because you kind of have to give some sort of semblance of backstory.
I've seen
Once again, spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's about the Boston Globe finally doing a full report of what has been slowly reported in breadcrumbs over the years.
Yeah.
The story about basically how pervasive Catholic priests were preying upon kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw mostly boys, but there were, the occasional girl peppered in.
Yeah.
But a fucking terrible story that it's amazing it took that long to come out.
Yeah, this is when you look at the dates in the movie, it's like 2000s.
Yeah, 2000, 2001, because September 11th happens in the movie.
It's insane.
And just the idea that in the end, because I thought it was going to be Slattery that had been burying all those over the years, and I was like, all right, when's that reveal going to be? And then it's Keaton.
Right.
And just like, I don't know, I got it, and I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
I didn't want to pay it the mind it deserved, because... Jesus Christ, this is a fucking terrible story.
Right.
I think the interconnectivity of the world helps because information now flows so much freer, even in 2001.
Yep.
So that more people could hit upon it and go, hey, what about this?
Right.
As opposed to just getting buried in page whatever of the newspaper as 200 words or less, just blurb right across. Fucking terrible.
Well, it's an interesting thing because this is what happens in our society, man. Like, problems exist, these issues exist, people know about it, people report it, stuff's out there, but for whatever reason, it doesn't catch on until it hits the cultural zeitgeist. Like, it has to hit it in a certain way, and then all of a sudden, we as a country react. We as a people react to it and demand a reaction and demand a resolution and punishment and consequences. This is a perfect example of that because, I mean, we saw it recently with gay marriage. We saw it recently with the Confederate flag. We saw it recently with a number of things that have come down the pike and things have changed. All of a sudden, there's this wave of desire to change it, you know? And I think this is what happened for whatever reason after 9/11. People were like in a different place to like explore what was going on in the what was really going on beneath the surface, and all of a sudden. This had been going on since probably since the beginning of the Catholic Church. I would imagine this has been going on.
Since celibacy was a requirement.
Yeah.
I'm sure this has been going on.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And I want to make this clear. Like, this is not going to be a pod where we destroy the Catholic Church. This is
I was
that
raised
happened.
Catholic.
Yeah,
Listen,
me too. Yeah.
When it's that big, there's bound to be bad apples.
Of course,
that's one way to call. Yeah, they're bad apples. You know those guys.
Sure.
Oh shucks. But. Like, I mean, the priesthood is so large that it's a cross section of 8 to 10% or something.
Right.
But I just think it's trying to repress that sexual drive that's just not human.
It's too much to ask.
It's not human.
Right. And anything human will have flaws inherently within it, and this is definitely one of those flaws because the repression that you were speaking about. I mean, you hear about it all the time now. About the abuse of children in numerous places. And it was harrowing in the film to see when they finally got the ball rolling of how many of these cases had been reported, what the church had done with them, and then how far-reaching it was. Because people just thought it was in Boston, and then you start to see that actually all over the country, all over the world.
These guys have been moved to retirement homes in other communities, basically. Yeah. When the one reporter it's the only actor in the ensemble you don't know.
Oh, right, yeah.
Runs out of his house and runs 5 doors down.
Yeah.
I mean, across the street, and then there's one that runs perpendicular to his street, and he goes right up that, and house right there on the left.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, one of those, degenerate priest rehabilitation centers is right there, and you're assuming like 2 or 3 of them live there.
Yeah.
That it's just like, and then a woman runs it or something like that.
Right,
that they
just
showed
hanging around the neighborhood.
House.
Just hanging around the neighborhood.
They got to put them somewhere.
Yeah, I guess so.
And just let's take them out of the rotation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then bury them in a neighborhood.
In essence.
And that means that there's more of these.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, and these films are really great. When they're done really great, they build to those moments, right? It's a slow build because you as the viewer are getting the information just as the characters on screen are getting the information. So you are riding, in essence, with them through the process. And then when the moment happens, you feel it as much as that character is feeling it. So that moment you're talking about was fantastic. He runs around the corner.
When he runs, and you're like,
the shock of it all.
What is he running to? And then he stops and looks at the house, and I'm sure, like a lot of the rest of the audience, because they set it up so well, is instantly realized, oh shit, some of those priests live right there.
Right.
That's instantaneously when he stops and he's looking at it slack jawed, going, fuck, fuck, I got kids, and when he's going to Keaton and saying, I feel like I really need to be able to tell the people in my neighborhood because that is a threat, a serious threat to their psychic well-being on top of everything else. Yeah. But the entire neighborhood would be destroyed if this happens. Yeah. And it's Jesus.
Right, but it's a credit to all the performers and the actors in the film, actors in the film, that they're able to bring those moments to life in such a very visceral way. You had Keaton, you have, like you mentioned, John Slattery, Rachel McAdams,
Ruffalo,
Mark Ruffalo, who got the nomination. Even the people who play Stanley Tucci was great as that lawyer.
Yeah, he was great.
Right? And even the people who play the victims, they're probably just like local actors or whatever, and they've done a lot of theater or done smaller films.
Billy Crudup was great.
Yeah, Crudup was great as the lawyer, right?
Is
exactly.
it Crudup? I go back and forth. I've heard Crudup and then I've heard Crudup, and it just kind of goes whichever way I'm saying it that day.
That works for me.
No idea.
But I want to give credit to those guys too, because they did such a great job recounting those monologues about being abused. Like, it's pretty heartbreaking to hear those stories and see the way that it's done, and to hear the malevolent way that it's done. Like, tricking one of them that, hey, if you tell, your mom's going to be mad, and then and that's what's great about the film is it wasn't just priest bad, people good. It was more of exploration of the complexity of this issue. Like, it isn't just the abuse,
because they didn't fixate upon one priest to demonize. They kind of made it what it was, which is systemic.
Yeah,
this is a problem that's pervasive. It's not just this,
right?
Because if you and I love that as the intellectual thought going through from the editorial side of initially when he comes back and says, no, I want this. I want ever reaching. I want to see where this goes, because this is the byproduct of a real problem.
Yep.
not the problem itself.
Right.
And then when he's willing to settle, and Keaton later on is like, this story is bigger.
Yeah.
This story, if we really want to make change, we need to take a punch.
Yeah.
Or not take a punch, but throw a punch, and a serious punch.
Yeah.
Like those little Macs from Mike Tyson back in the day, when you had to do that jump. You need to do that. You got to slay this fucking beast, because the Catholic Church is no joke.
Yeah.
I mean, look back through the history of the Catholic. That's why, like, as being raised Catholic and then reflecting back, I don't go to church anymore.
Yeah, neither do I.
But the Catholic Church has just done so many shit things over
Right.
the years, and that's the problem with that much power.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, they took over because of the void of the collapse of of nation state governments in medieval times. There
Yeah.
was no government at that point, so they kind of stepped in and became the administrators.
Right.
And that's not good for a religion, is to become the church and the state.
Of course not.
So then as that builds up, it's just like power corrupts. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
And eventually those people at the top just do some things and just like you're looking at this from the wrong perspective as a religion entirely.
Yeah.
Like black and white.
Yeah.
And this just adds on to the heap. But in my head though, still the Catholic Church does more good than it does bad.
Well, right, of course.
As any religion, it's genuinely trying to do good, and it succeeds quite a bit.
Yeah.
There's just, when it's that large, it becomes a bureaucracy, and then there's...
Right. Well, because like in anything, as soon as it becomes a red tape situation or people's like livelihoods depend on them maintaining a certain financial status, then all of a sudden morality and corruption comes right in there, because it is a selfish desire to stay alive and to stay in a certain place so you can enjoy the life that you've created. But once it gets exposed, it's a very strong person that could be like, you know what, you're right, I need to give away this situation or walk away from this position or do this kind of jazz. Is not a lot of people that'll do that. So they'll rather fool themselves into fighting for what they think is their piece of pie and believe a bunch of bullshit just so they can maintain their status. They lie to themselves and maintain that status. And you see that through the film. You know, the way the priest gets interrogated by Ruffalo and McAdams, and the way they have to like treat him with kid gloves, or Liev Schreiber has to come over, and of course he gets attacked for being Jewish, all of that, and being an outsider, you know, and like the whole thing Michael Keaton who has that thing with that lawyer from the other side. Yeah, they have that back and forth throughout the whole film until he finally puts it on the table and says, "You got to do something. You got to give me something, because this is bullshit." You know what I'm saying? And
just the. I knew from Keaton's perspective, he knew subconsciously, I guess, the entire time, because he was the one burying the story.
Yes.
And that's where his guilt comes from, of I should have spotted this.
Right.
This was presented to me on more than one occasion.
Yeah.
Especially with that email with the list of 20 or whatever priests from Crudup. See? And then it goes back and forth. Excuse me.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it was. Finally. Cleared that out. I needed that. And I lost the train of thought. Michael Keaton.
Crudup. No.
Oh, him getting the email? Yeah, I lost
the
it.
20
It's
people.
fucking gone. That cough jarred it out of me.
Well, I mean, that whole thing with Keaton was a slow build. But you didn't feel necessarily like, it wasn't like this kind of thing where you felt he was the villain. It was you got to understand that there are also human people receiving this information.
Yeah.
And not everyone is like Woodward and Bernstein all the time. No one can be, you know. It's a terrible burden to have if you are constantly looking for causes to, like Mina La Mancha, like, you know, ride into the windmill for. You have to have the balance. And so, yeah, he saw that, and the dude who came in with the box of stuff, who had been the one who wrote the original letter.
Yeah.
You know,
the one that no one took seriously until he sat down with the Spotlight crew.
But that makes sense, because at that time, how advanced was the acceptance of psychotherapy or psychology in the national consciousness? It wasn't as developed.
I think it's more
you
so
see a guy
because
like that and you think he's crazy.
Yeah, but you all of them, I'm sure every reporter had come across numerous stories over the course of their career about priests abusing kids.
Sure.
But when it's a one-off, it almost seems anecdotal.
Right.
It doesn't seem actual evidence. It just seems anomalous. It's just like, yeah, that's the 1 in a billion.
Yeah.
And you only see it so often. And then to see it coalesce into this is a pattern.
Yeah.
This is look at this. We can play the percentages and get this almost right. And this is one community.
Yeah.
And at the end, that scroll of towns, just like, I can't even imagine the size of the scandal. Like, what if Boston wasn't even the largest?
Right.
I mean, there's a better than fair chance just because it's such a Catholic community, especially when they pick up the story from then until the resolution. Like, it's a predominantly Catholic area.
Yeah.
So they're going to be more lenient because the church has more power in that area.
Well, like in anything, like you just said, the whole beginning of this thing, we were talking about church and state. It's in essence a fiefdom, what Boston is because of the interconnectedness of the church and how much they depend on the church, for any number of things. And so, Washington, D.C. is like that at times. I'm not sure I'm sure there are some southern towns that are very much, the church is the backbone of the society, of the place. So it's going to be real difficult to sacrifice these sacred cows. It can't be easy. But I think that was so great about the film is you see all of that through the progression of the film. You see that in the characters and how they're portraying it and their own struggles with it, like their own confrontations. Like Ruffalo's confrontation, like Ruffalo is the warrior, he wants to expose this stuff and because he has this almost autistic way of approaching this thing that he's very much like, it has to be found out, but he's like going through a divorce and he's got a small apartment and he's got his own stuff because his mind is in that place. Whereas Keaton is more about like, well, this is a larger thing. And then so Slattery, like this could implode the city. Yeah. And after 9/11, do we want to put them through another emotional turmoil, which is unfair, obviously, in a utopian approach to look at it that way, but in a realistic approach to humans, to human people's emotions.
People can only take so much.
Right. It's before they shut down, like they shut it off. And that's what he was trying to avoid. And I think that's what...
It's the reason we rotate troops in war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because battle fatigue, when you're at the front for so long, if you just stay up there, you go Looney Tunes after a while.
Of course.
And it happens to a lot of people. And we used to dust that off as like shell shock in World War I.
Right.
And then eventually it came to go, actually it's a little worse than us just giving it a cute little name.
Yeah.
And something they should be able to get over. It just, so if you're just confronted by... tragedy. That's the problem. Like, it's the reason this went on for so long. We had other problems to deal with.
Yep.
And this always seemed like, it's one or two cases here, I guess, from a police or the attorney general, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
If they even see this, be like, it's not really worth my time.
Right. Well, also because so many friends are involved in the church or have connections to the church or on the board of churches. Like, it's all that jazz. It isn't just a singular thing or in a vacuum. There's so much more involved. And I thought Ruffalo was great, obviously, and I thought it was interesting to see McAdams nominated for an Oscar for this because I didn't think anything she did in the film was necessarily anything else she hasn't done in any other film. So it was interesting to see her get nominated for this.
Yeah, I mean, Ruffalo, I really believed he became that part.
Yeah,
I was, I think we talked about it on the 2015 recap.
Yeah,
but excuse me. I really think like you could see him almost get lost at times fully within the character.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive how he managed to, what you're talking about, be the fighter. Like he was the attack dog.
Yeah.
And it was tough to leash him, but he didn't go too far. But I mean, he was the one aggressively like pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent. McAdams, I thought she was good. I'm not taking away from.
No.
I think she was as good as basically everybody else in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I thought Tucci was great with the part that he did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brought so
that
much
one to
life
me is,
to the movie.
I could see that one better as a supporting.
Sure. Absolutely.
But supporting's always, I don't know. It's the Oscars.
Yeah. Sure.
We already bitched about
That's true, we did.
Sicario not being nominated for Best Picture.
Let's not bring that up again. Get all angry again.
Yeah. Although, have you seen, because someone brought it up, I just managed to look through the YouTube comments when I got home last night.
Yeah.
What is it, Beasts of No Nation?
Oh, the Idris Elba movie.
Yeah.
I have not seen that. It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I'll take a look at that. Sure.
Well, a few people just put, look, if you love Sicario, trust me, this is better.
Listen, I'm still recovering from Sicario, so I'm not ready to put myself through something else like that again.
I think I'm ready to almost see it again.
Are you?
Starting to, when we were talking about it the other day, I got like a little pep. I was like, oh yeah, I want to see that scene again. I want to feel the music.
Oh, Sicario. I'll see that again, absolutely. But to put myself through a new situation like Beasts of No Nation, I don't know if I'm ready yet. Maybe another week.
See, you're like Boston. People worried about can this come out. Listen, I just went through a lot.
I can't fucking do that.
I need something a little more lighthearted, or I can tune out for a while.
Right.
I know it's after award season. I am kind of like, let's just watch a movie.
Yeah, can I just watch something simple?
Yeah,
is that okay?
My brain can zone out.
Did it have to be heavy?
Yeah. Why can't good action films come out in like January, the end of January, beginning of February?
Because people are exhausted from the same thing as people are exhausted from seeing all those important movies.
Give me something like, well, yeah, but action is the one where my brain could just turn off.
True. Very true.
You're just viscerally taking all this shit in. So.
Well, I'm sure Point Break's still showing. You can go see that piece of that remake.
That trailer. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a nerd.
Oh, I watched it.
Did you?
It's so
why?
bad. So
why?
bad.
It looked. That's one of the worst terribles. All this shit happens and it ends, and I'm like, I don't fucking care in the slightest. Like, it was impressive to me and stuck out because even when I don't like a movie,
the original.
No. I'm talking about the new one.
Oh, you went to see the new one?
No. I'm saying the trailer.
Oh, okay.
You saw the new one?
I did. I saw the whole thing.
Yeah. I saw the trailer and I'm like, that was so terrible. It was impressively bad.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty bad.
Wow. How was that? Is that the free movie pass?
Yeah, it was free. It was with the movie pass. I was like, well, screw it. I might as well go.
Was it even worth it for free?
No, it wasn't. Really wasn't. It really wasn't. There wasn't anything interesting or fantastic about that film. Like, it really wasn't.
It just looked terrible.
It was a phenomenal waste of a couple of really good actors, and then everyone else is kind of. But like. Anyway, let's not jump on that because we're talking about a way better film than Spotlight. What do you think about the direction in the film and the score? And
I like that. I like the pacing of the film.
Yeah.
I liked the. It wasn't like stark contrast in the lighting because it's not like when they went into Spotlight, it was super bright and super like this is clearly the white side of this issue.
Right.
But it did have a lighter tone to it, but it was subtle. I like the subtle shifts of they used a lot of. Like when they went up to the priest's house, they chose a house that had a large porch or whatnot, so it casts a shadow on an overcast day, but it gives a more ominous feel. You're just naturally kind of building the atmosphere within it, and I thought they did an excellent job of that. They set the tone and the pace and all the underlying stuff really well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It seemed just a very crisp and professional movie.
I agree with you there, and it's all the offices were like these like kind of brighter like for the newspaper, everything was brighter. Everything was almost white. So in essence, you're putting that little like kind of like the good guys type of vibe.
When the reporter discovers the house, it's at night.
It's at night, right? Exactly.
Because that's the much better way to find out.
Right. And when they go into the priest, there's like a darker wood, a darker kind of vibe.
But it's not exploiting. It's not creating a false atmosphere.
No.
It's taking advantage of a location.
A location, right.
That you're choosing, but it's a real world location.
Yeah.
But even like when he goes to visit the bishop.
Oh, right.
Every movie that I've seen, that's kind of what the bishop's area looks like.
Yeah.
It's just, he's got a nice office. He's got a really nice office. A lot of wood, a lot of leather,
A lot of trinkets.
Yeah, it's just, exactly. Things that other dignitaries have given him. I don't know. I've seen, or you go the even further way of like a Dogma.
Oh, yeah.
Where Carlin is... gets his clubs or whatever, blesses his clubs and shit like that.
Yeah.
Just like we've seen the full spectrum of, and you've seen the Machiavellian bishop.
Yeah.
But all the settings were fantastic. They did an excellent job.
Yeah. And I enjoyed, it was so fun for me mentally to like see Keaton at a newspaper again. Because like, I remember The Paper from 1992 with him and Glenn Close. That's one of my favorite films that no one talks about. And it's so funny. You could almost make a linear connection from that, gung-ho reporter who maybe just got older and missed a story or buried a story because he just got older. It's what happens.
Yeah.
And so for him to like kind of come back to that, I love that he's back in films. I love that people are casting him again. He's such a good actor. He's such a fantastically strong presence in his own way that it's nice to see him coming back again.
I think on some level, like turning down the third Batman hurt him a lot.
Yes, it did.
It's an easy cash grab.
Right.
And no one... I think the problem is if you fast forward 10 years, no one faults him for taking that cash grab and just making a bad movie, whereas at that point, superhero movies didn't really succeed all that often.
Right.
So maybe it was the more artistic, I'm going to walk away. But I think it did hurt him with studios. I'm assuming at least. I don't know.
Well, also his attitude. I mean, a lot of people felt he was pretty cocky and arrogant. I mean, you hear it if you read any of his interviews where he talks about that time and period in his life where he really felt full of himself. And that's kind of what sometimes you have to do that. When you're constantly booking things and getting it, you think you're the shit. And then eventually the shit train ends. And you've got to...
It's such a weird thing because... You're predicating your belief in yourself that highly upon you walking into a room and telling other strangers that I can play Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? That you would need to like build up your ego to be able to walk into a room and completely bullshit other strangers and be like, fucking trust me.
Yeah.
But every actor that gets to that level has done that song and dance, and that's what always blows me away. Just like, dude, your ego is built upon I can pretend the shit out of that better than anybody.
Right.
That's such a weird, and it works.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, this is why sometimes when people revere actors and all their thoughts on things, I kind of get a little. And I'm an actor, so I still get a little like because I'm like, you just say lines believably in front of a camera. That's it. You're not solving cancer or whatever. I mean, entertainment is very important. That's why we do this podcast. We love films, but like like what Sean Penn did with Chapo. I mean, that's just fucking stupidity, man.
It's one of those of you can. I don't mind it. I don't mind someone expressing their opinion. With one caveat.
Yeah.
As long as they know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yes, agreed.
And celebrities are asked every question under the sun. How do you feel about X, Y, and Z?
Right.
And occasionally, and not occasionally, but we're all out of our depth when someone asks us a question we don't fucking know anything about. And I guess maybe they feel like they have to give some sort of answer as opposed to going like, I don't know enough to admit fault. I don't, but who fucking knows? Because sometimes, like, someone says something and be like, that is a brilliant encapsulation of a thought that I've never been able to crystallize.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, wow, you've thought about that from that perspective, and that really resonates with me.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I should ask you more questions about that specifically, as opposed to, just what's at the edge of the universe?
Yeah.
What's past that? Ask me some question. Yeah. What do you got for me? What is life? I don't need true, like, unless you want to, from the actor's perspective, give me a philosophical.
That's fine.
Or if you're the like, if it's one of the Doobie Brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
Is one of the world's leading experts on ballistic missiles and ICBMs and things like that, like advanced rocket systems.
What?
Yeah.
One of the Doobie Brothers?
I believe it's one of the picture that I've always seen, because he's had to testify before subcommittees and things like that, explaining the details of why this is that or whatever. He's not answering questions. He's the expert helping to explain.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is the dude, huge handlebar, like fat, going down the side, looking like the 70s. You know what I mean? Like he could have been a Muppet.
Wow.
But he's in like a suit, or but he's still, you can tell. You're like, one of these things is not like the other.
I wonder if he's one of those guys that stopped the concert when the tape recorder fell out of Rerun's jacket in What's Happening. That's one of my favorite episodes of What's Happening.
I only know that from just the dance.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode.
Never seen an episode?
I know that fucking dance, man. The guy just...
Rerun's dance.
It's so weird that he was famous for that.
Oh, yeah.
For that. Did he have any other skill? Because I didn't...
Comedy. That's about it. I mean, he didn't really go into anything else afterwards, though, really. He was just Rerun for the rest of his life.
Yeah, that's got to be tough.
How do we jump on Rerun from Spotlight? Okay, well...
Because we're good.
Any final thoughts you want to talk about? Anything final thoughts you want to throw in about the film?
Yeah. Do you think Ruffalo will win? Actually, he's up against... Is he... Are they calling him supporting?
Yeah, supporting.
All right, he's got a shot at supporting.
Yeah. I'd be okay with if he won, but I don't know. I mean, Spotlight's one of those films that doesn't really jump out at you, so I'd be surprised if he won, or McAdams won, or the film won.
Yeah,
because I think there are sexier choices, and that the Academy might want to go.
I think he's got a shot for film because it's a safe choice.
Oh yeah, the sexual abuse of children by priests.
Sadly, compared to like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying
Mad Max, I don't think has a shot.
Well, yeah, but by what the Academy always awards.
Yeah.
And I think it's got that because it's an issue movie.
Yeah.
And it's something, that there should be good films made about that, because it's a terrible thing we need to remember, and these movies help us remember.
Yeah, it's true. Almost like All the President's Men type
Yeah,
film.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason, because a lot of the other choices are like, that definitely has no fucking shot.
Yeah.
Who knows, though?
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Bridge of Spies could win out of nowhere.
I know.
It could
will not win.
It could.
The Revenant will win.
The Martian's got a good shot.
The Martian definitely has a chance.
Yeah.
And I think The Revenant are the two. To me, in my mind, those are the top two right now. Not top two films of the year, but top two
that have a shot.
That have a shot, yes, to win it. I'd be real surprised if Spotlight won it, and I'd be happy as hell. But it could win a SAG award, so that's possible too. That's what they usually do sometimes.
No one cares.
Ensemble pieces.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm not going to say that.
Even when
I work
movies...
the SAG award, so I can't say that.
Well, I'm not saying that, because so can I.
Yeah.
I just think it's more so of, let's be perfectly honest, the only one that anyone really cares about is the Oscar.
Yeah.
Because that's the one we all agree has been the gold standard.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's nothing against the others. It's nice when movies get, rewarded that don't on the larger stage.
Right.
Like Sicario.
Yeah. Son of a...
Yeah, but... what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
All right, so I would say definitely go see the film if you haven't seen it. It's so damn good. I'm going at least for one more time. I've seen it twice now. I'm going to go one more time because I just like it as an actor's piece. As an actor's piece alone, it's fantastic. There's so many great scenes that you would love to act in class or act just with your friends. Such great stuff. Such great dialogue. So shout out to the writer, and obviously the score is really nice because it pumps up in certain moments and then really underplays what's going on throughout the scenes really well. And I love the direction as well because the pull-outs and the pull-ins, the way they use them effectively through the film to give you the idea of the scope of what's happening is really effective. All right. Any other final thoughts, Matt, on Spotlight?
No. Impressively, we are ending right at 30.
Right at 30 minutes.
Good call. Yeah, I would say, definitely see it.
Yeah.
It's a damn good movie. It was one of my favorites of the year.
Right. And give us your thoughts, right?
Comment, please.
Yeah, we'd love to hear.
Thanks for listening. If you want to contact us, you can email the show, top10podcast@gmail.com, or catch us on Twitter.
Yep. Follow us at Top 10 Show. Follow Matt Knows at Matt Knows. Follow me at The Roca Says.
And that's it. This is coming out Monday.
Monday.
Gear up for Tuesdays.
Hey-o.